factors that could change things, right? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, when we trade, we a lot of time look for setups in which we could feel, subconsciously even, that we can capitalize on. However, if you know what to look for consciously, you can actually help your subconscious lean towards trades that can potentially work. I'm going to talk about relative strength and the psychology behind it, being logical while you trade, and it's a lot easier and a lot less vague than you think. We're going to go over some earnings, IBM, Netflix, Teradyne, three names that were on my list. We're going to talk about them and see how did they really perform in this environment. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. Netflix, IBM, Teradyne, three names that made the Newsbeat Live earnings list. Not only that, a psychology lesson for you today. But first, thou musteth pauseth on the next slide, readeth it in its entirety, and then, and only then, may you hit play. Thank you so much for reading that. I appreciate it. Now, you did something for me, so I have to give something for you. Let's start with the earnings, and then we'll get right into the psychology lesson, okay? So, again, win, lose, draw. These are the Newsbeat Live earnings list from so far this year. I mean, we obviously have a very small sample size. Netflix obviously made the list. Teradyne and STM, which is reporting tomorrow. And Newsbeat Live members get access to this. So far, in these two trades, we are down 3,027. But you know what? I want to make it simpler. I don't like using the big numbers for people who sometimes have small accounts. Sometimes when you have very big numbers and you produce really large numbers, it's very scary for a lot of people. So I actually want to make it a lot easier for you. And what I'm going to do is like if I ever show you our report card from last earnings season, and guess what? After this earnings season is over, I'm never going to show you this report card again, and I'll show you the current report card, good, bad, ugly. You can see I have a ton of gains and a ton of losses. Look at that. And again, for educational purposes, based on mathematical samples, I would never tell you to buy or sell a security. So instead of saying you're up $169,000, instead of saying that, I'd rather say you're up 169% if you did the same dollar bet on every single one of our trades. You're up 169% of the bet you did on each trade individual on a basis. So if you bet $10,000, you made 169% of $10,000. If you bet $10,000 per trade, if you did 100,000 per trade, you're up $169,000. If you did 500,000 per trade, you're up a little over 850,000. So you get the picture. It's more of a percentage basis. And I do want to show you this. I know. I'm only supposed to show you my winners. I'm only supposed to show you that. I'm supposed to pretend I have no losers, just like you gurus who are watching the show right now, and unlike to the utter dismay of the people watching this show. So I'm going to go over, I'm not even going to go over UNH, a name that worked. Again, based on mathematical samples, I'm not telling you to buy or sell these names ever. Let's talk about Netflix, Teradyne, and STM. So I'm going to talk about Netflix, and I was really happy that a lot of the Newsbeat Live members were selling after hours. A lot of Newsbeat Live members were selling this over $480. I'm sure some people in the 470s and whatever. I mean, this stock exploded. We had a $500 target we put on last week when the stock was $396. We put a $500 target. It didn't obviously This is after hours. It hit $485.95. Obviously, I'm showing you the after hours print because it reported earnings and I wanted to talk about it. And right now, as we speak, Netflix is as flat as my wall. It is literally up 30 cents. It is as flat as humanly possible right now. But I do want to go over the numbers in a very unbiased fashion. Then I'm going to backtrack to IBM and then fast forward to Teradyne. So let's go ahead, talk about Netflix. What happened? Well, 67 a share. That was ahead of the 65 analyst projection. 5.77 billion in revenue. Did Netflix beat on revenue for the first time that I could remember since I was wearing diapers? 5.77 billion versus the 5.76 billion expected just came ahead, but check this out for next quarter. I always love forward projections. You know, a lot of these Wall Street companies right now are withdrawing their guidance because of COVID-19, because really their numbers are based on COVID-19. Um, Hilariously enough, I don't think Netflix's future numbers are that heavily based on COVID-19. You might be saying, well, why, Mr. Melnick? Let's just go ahead and talk about it right now. $1.81 a share versus the $1.54 expected is what they're expecting for next quarter. 6.05 billion in revenue ahead of the 5.97 billion in revenue. And I am going to tell you a number that is going to blow the Tommy Johns off of what you're sitting on. You ready for this? Paid net additions of 15.77 million people. Okay. That is about 100% more than analysts were expecting. And I'm going to say it right now, and I'm going to say it all honestly. You know, how many people are going to be keeping this after COVID-19 is a bad memory? I think the vast majority of people are not going to cancel their Netflix. Netflix just became almost like your backup plan. Instead, you know, like how millionaires buy bunkers in the middle of Australia. You read that report? The millionaires flying to Australia trying to get in to go to their underground bunkers. People are using Netflix as their underground bunker. If excrement hits a spinning blade and goes everywhere, people want to watch Netflix. And they're going to keep their Netflix subscriptions, in my humble opinion. Everybody's going to leave and join, and there are going to be people joining Netflix without COVID-19 and people leaving Netflix without COVID-19, with or without it. But this is by far, by far the best earnings I have ever seen for Netflix. And it's not a surprise. I mean, fair enough, everybody is home. But again, this goes beyond people utilizing their Netflix subscription more. Whether you pay your 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, whatever dollars a month it is for your Netflix subscription, it's not that you're just watching more Netflix and the people who had it are watching more. It's that you have 15.77 million people signing up, new people to use the service. That's net additions. Do you realize what 15 million? It's 15.77 million. You know what 15 million times what is Netflix? Let's even say stupid things like $10 a month. That's $150 million a month. 1.8 billion a year. Netflix earnings are phenomenal. So, of course, again, price wise, they spiked the stock up. If you're a Newsbeat Live member, I was literally putting it in the room. I was like, remember, if you have shares of this thing, it's possible to sell after hours. I just reminded people. A lot of people jumped on that. Let's talk about IBM. IBM was one of my earnings plays, which I lost money on. And again, doesn't mean I don't want to analyze it. Again, not sure why I'm supposed to never be wrong, but my numbers speak for themselves, and I have no problem going over something that I lost money on or was wrong on. $1.84 a share they reported. That beats the $1.79 expected. 17.6 billion, that's slightly short of the 17.62 billion expected. And they withdrew their 2020 guidance based on the COVID-19 crisis. I think IBM's earnings were solid. I don't think it's anything to scoff at. They gapped it down and look what they did. They just rallied it all day. Look at that. Just rallied it. Stock is up a little after hours. Currently with the gap up, I thought IBM's earnings were solid. Now, you might be sitting here and say, Mark, you didn't do a video on TER, Teradyne, which reported earnings. Why? You have to realize, yes, Newsbeat Live members do get more than what I could offer you guys here. I just literally cherry picked sexy names which were going on the list. I could tell you right now, 99.9% chance Intel's going on the list. But as a Newsbeat Live member, you do get unfettered access to this list. And we put Teradyne, which reported after hours, in for tomorrow morning, STM. Two stocks, just by the way, I do have a position in both of them, but that's really irrelevant to my analysis. So let's just go ahead and talk about Teradyne. And just a name like this, I mean, just a name like this up over 10% right now after hours. They announced $1 a share. That beats the 88 cents expected. $704 million in revenue ahead of the 678 million in revenue. For next quarter, show me your projections. You crushed it this quarter during COVID. God bless you. You're a semiconductor. How are you going to do next quarter? 86 cents to $1.16 a share versus a consensus of 80. You know what that's like saying? Oh, God, in the worst case scenario, we're going to beat you by about 10%. In the best case scenario, we're going to slam on you so hard, you're going to make Shaquille O'Neal look like a wimp. Like, that's how badly they're going to smash it. 690 to 800 million they're projecting next quarter. That's ahead of the 646 million expected. Ladies and gentlemen, there are companies that are going to outperform during COVID-19. And it's not just your Netflix, it's not just your Amazons. It's stupid little stocks in which I never ever trade and touch, with the exception of me taking a position before the bell today, like Teradyne. Like Teradyne. And a stupid little name like this is going to make me very happy. That's it. It's up huge. It destroyed it. Because Newsbeat Live earnings, you know what? We do look at the chances of these companies beating on expectations. That doesn't mean you will gap up. Look at IBM. I thought IBM's earnings were solid. That doesn't mean you're going to gap up on earnings just because you're ahead of what Wall Street was expecting. Okay? And by the way, even if you're at work and you're not in the room, you get this list with you at all times. You have access to the earnings list. We charge you zero. That's a standalone product if we wanted it to. We give you the Twitter, which was a standalone product. That's included in the Newsbeat Live subscription. You obviously get the number one largest room here at T3. And not only that, you know what happens after this show ends? I go right in the room and we're going to do literally a Q&A about trading the spiders. We're going to have like exclusive content and video for members in which we offer you. I mean, if you think you get a lot out of these videos, believe me, there's a lot more where that came from and which you don't get because, again, and I pump out how many hours? I mean, how many hours a week am I spending doing videos? About 15 hours a week? Just on videos, not even running the room or anything, right? So there's a lot of time that I do that. And again, Teradyne killed it. Killed it. And this stock alone, it has a very good chance of carrying every single earnings play we've done so far. Just a fact. Look how much it's up. Knock you on wood. Don't count your eggs until they hatch. So those are my thoughts on earnings, and I want to talk to you now about relative strength. And this is a really good one. So the market opened up today, and I was looking for names to trade, and I want to show you how I approached one of my first trades in the room. So let's just go ahead and just approach the mentality behind it. So just so you know, here are the names I was watching. Here's are the names I was watching. You get this every day in the pre-market. I was looking Beyond Long, Amazon Long, Netflix long, LH long, BA short. Those five names. Those are the five names on my list. So when I show you the names I'm going through, I, it's off of those five names, and I'm trying to find the best ones. I don't recall trading Amazon today. I don't recall trading LH today, for example. I don't even trade all the names, but those are what I'm focusing on. So if you'll notice, one of the strategies, we actually show you what's working based on our strategies, which we give you video content. You could probably find most of these strategies on the internet. I know some of them, like the 15-minute strat, is probably exclusive Newsbeat live content, which is in your portal. And you could just literally, it's like when you sign up for the room, you just get bombarded with all this free education. It's kind of insane. You got to check us out. Nonetheless, I want you to notice here, know your limit eight, which is very simple. You basically buy it. And again, I would never tell you to buy or sell a security, but I'll show you where I bought it. And I want to show you why I chose Beyond to buy today as opposed to the other names on my list. So we have Beyond. Here's the first, and I'll remove the 21. Just want to show you the exponential 8. So basically, I'm trying to buy this stock. It opens up here. The first time it touches the yellow line. Why did I buy Beyond today off of that yellow line and not the others per se? Here's Amazon. Here's the first 5-minute bar of Amazon. Notice you put in a red bar early. Ignored it. No need. The first 5-minute bar was red. Take a look at Netflix. First 5-minute bar was red. And I'm not saying none of them work. Like I could see Netflix, bounced, a few points. Like I'm not saying they don't work, but just bear with me here. Let's look at LH, which is LabCorp, red bar early. And again, I see it works. I, you know, I might not be the sharpest tool in this, in the, in the shed, but I do have, two functional eyes, and I could see this. Red bar, Moderna. Put in a green bar, but hit the exponential 8 early, and look, worked right away. I missed this one because it hit it on the first 5-minute bar, which I tend to ignore. And of course, Boeing, which put in a high tail here, wasn't really that weak. And of course, it shoots through the 8. And then if you shorted it, you could have obviously, that was the day high right after on the first bar that went through the 8. Pretty much fell from that point forward. So instead of all that, instead of all this nonsense, I looked at this. And this is what I saw on the first 5-minute bar of Beyond. I saw this big, green, beautiful bar. It was like Jolly Green Giant getting excited to see me on a chart, and I just want to buy into it on the first pullback. It's like just a beautiful sign of relative strength. The psychology behind relative strength is something absolutely amazing. It happens all the time. You have a bunch of similar trades, but you want to pick the best one. And this relative strength is going to help you do it. In the stock market, an entire sector or industry may be rallying and you want to get involved. But guess what? The market's doing the same thing when you're watching all your charts. You're just seeing how each one of your stocks are reacting to it. You know, if the market's going down, all your stocks are being influenced or potentially influenced by the market going down. So when you see the relative strength in Beyond, and if you're wondering why we chose Beyond, it's because they're offering meat in China and not before you get a temperature check to make sure you don't have COVID. Think I'm kidding? Literally, in China, when you walk inside a Starbucks, they are literally giving you the COVID test. Here's CNBC. Like, not even kidding. Like, right over there. She's like, look at that. Look at all these adorable little pins she has here. Look, I totally want that little Starbucks bear with the star. It's definitely better than the Luckin Coffee where you have the deer looking up for the 300 million they can't find. And she's literally given this lady here who's at the front counter. She's like, "Hi." You know, like how they come in and like you go to a supermarket and they scan your goods. Like she's like, "Hi, I'm going to scan your forehead." Like, could you imagine like what would they do to me if I came in, they scanned like my face, they come up to me and scan my face. It's like, "Beep." Ooh, you're hurting in the face. It's like, "Yes, thank you." All stupid jokes aside, that is why we were focusing on Beyond Meat. And with this relative strength, you have to decide early on when, some people they do their scans, or maybe you have a list of stocks you're watching. I have a list of stocks I'm watching. I was watching the 5 names in which I showed you. But why Beyond Meat was because it looked relatively strong. The name starts going, you might feel at this point, oh, I missed out. Oh, I missed out. Look at it go without me. But you're just waiting. Look at this. Look at that yellow line. It's coming up to you. It's like, I'm going to catch you, Jolly Green Giant. I'm going to catch you. I'm going to catch you. And it runs away from you again. And you're sitting there and you're sitting on your hands. And you had beans last night, so you're going to have to wash them afterwards. But you just keep going. And look at that. It falls right into the exponential 8 for the first time right here. And you're sitting there and you're saying, well, a lot of my names were going down early. A lot of my names were going down early that I was potentially looking for bullishness on. But this one was holding up early on. So when this one pulls back, I'm buying a strong stock on a pullback to an algorithmic level, which will likely work. We go ahead, buy beyond calls, pop, pop, right here. That's it. Made my money. Stock went from 87.95 to 89.79, just under a couple bucks. I think the best I made was like 10% of my money. It wasn't even a big trade. Actually learned a lesson on this one, but still, it doesn't hurt. You might be sitting here thinking, "Oh, look at that red bar that came in afterwards. How do I sell?" Sell when you're up money. That's how you sell. I know it sounds so easy. It really is if you adopt the mentality right. And that's just a little move like that is how you can make your day trading a Beyond Meat. So when you're looking at all the names you are watching, make sure that you seek out this relative strength or relative weakness if you're going short. I mean, the market's going up and down. You should be able to see every stock you're watching on one screen and say, that's the strong one. And once you identify it, you have to have a statistically likely strategy that's going to work if you buy it. And once you do that, you're going to be in good shape. I have a meeting with the Newsbeat Live members to go over spider strategy, so I'll show you tomorrow's levels today. Here you go. Tomorrow's levels today. Write them down, screenshot them, do what you like. You got the Q, SPYs, IWM, the FANG names, gold, USO, S&P 500, and Microsoft. And Microsoft. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff. And I just thought you'd want to really, really take advantage of the things we do here. I mean, really, there is no better value, in my humble opinion. And it's simply because we just keep adding things already on your plate. We keep adding things already, like, on your plate. I could have literally just segregated and created a separate product from every single thing I wanted to add to the room. And with the largest room here at T3, yeah, I would get a lot of sales and whatever, but it's not about that. It's about the continuing, ongoing fight to add value and try to do everything I can to bring you to the level of consistency. And once you're there, then I have to fight to keep you there. And if you're not there, then I have to fight every day to get you there. And that's what being a guru is all about for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Newsbeat show. Happy trading, make money. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.